Hi,
Hi,
welcome
how are you doing?
to Spin Legal tonight on YouTube and Facebook. Hope everybody's getting me. Hey, Angela, you're in a new office.
Yeah, this is our boardroom.
Yeah, I thought you were in Toronto or something. Hey.
Oh boy, that would be nice.
All right. So let me just do a quick introduction for everything. We're doing a bit of fun today. We deserve it. We've been doing a lot of serious stuff, but let's do a bit of fun. So today's Spin Legal. It's July 31st, so the last day of July 2024. And we're talking about some of those ancient laws around the world that are still on the books. So you're with us today is Angela Browne, and it's me, Peter Giblett, and we're going to be discussing some of these unusual laws, and we'll give you some thought, give you maybe some of our thoughts about this. But before anything, so welcome to Spin Legal, and July. It's not July 24th, it's July 31st. I've got to update it. Okay. And if you need any legal assistance, please contact Invictus Legal. You can do so on 905-688-5598, or email Angela at weareinvictus.legal, or me at Peter at weareinvictus.legal. And our website is https weareinvictus.legal.
Yep.
Okay. So that's the serious stuff out the way. There's a couple of ancient ones. This is one that's in English folklore, and let's ask the question: Do Englishmen still have to show up for longbow practice? It's an interesting question, this, because back in
You do that when you're living in the UK?
well, I will talk about that. So back in 2010. Reverend Mary Edwards of the village of Collingbourne Dukes in the UK demanded that all members of the parish report to the village recreation ground for archery practice as required by medieval law. Now, this actually, it was to put in practice, it was a law, law number 12, Richard II, enacted in 1388. It was a training requirement for English men, by the way, not women, to practice longbow archery at the village green on Sunday after church. Note what you're supposed to do first, right? You're supposed to go to church, after church, go to the village green and for longbow practice. So he had Richard II had some other complications to his law. He banned tennis, football or soccer, quoits, dice, and other games inappropriate. Now, I note in here that there are two games, even in 1388, that these games would have existed that were not listed, right? Because they were not games inappropriate. These games would have been, firstly, golf, secondly, cricket.
Mm-hmm.
It was an ancient version of cricket, even back then. Thirdly, also, I would say lawn bowling, crown green bowling, right? But okay, and the same Henry IV in 1409 also enacted a similar law, adding handball to the blacklist of sports. So you weren't allowed to play those. But in Queen Victoria repealed this in 1845 with an act concerning games and wagers that repealed any part of King Henry's laws, games of skills, and all of these prior laws. So they were done away with. So Parliament got rid of them by 1845. So any Englishman that tells you, any English person that says you've got to do archery practice on a Sunday after church, tell them no, and tell them I told them, right? And tell them Peter Giblett said so, right?
And how long have you been living in the UK?
I lived in the UK for for a lot of my life.
Yeah.
49
And
years.
you've never done this.
I picked up a bow. Don't get me wrong. I picked up a bow, not a long bow. I picked up an Olympic compound bow. No, no. There were three types of bows. There's long bows. There's the one I can't remember, and this American compound bow. The thing about the American compound bow is you can pull it to the length, and you can take your fingers off. This is still here because the compound bow basically will leave it exactly to the length it is. The bow I used is the one used in the Olympics, where you pull it, aim it, release it. Right. Interesting. Love it. Never done any longbow in my life. Okay, but so let's go to a few other silly laws. Right. Here's one: old, outdated, stupid laws in England. Right. MPs are not allowed to wear protective armor in Parliament. Did you know though that and I think there's a kind of relation in this because MPs in Parliament are supposed to be honourable people, aren't they? Right.
Yeah.
So you don't wear armor because nobody's carrying a sword, right? It has a similar thing to when I passed the bar in England. When you approach another barrister, you don't use a handshake. There's no handshake involved, right? Because again, my right hand being my sword hand, which is the reason for the handshake, is to show to people that I am trustworthy. I do not have a sword or a knife or a blade in my blade hand, right? So when I put out my hand to shake hands with you, it's because I'm being friendly. You know, I'm showing I'm unarmed, right? Now, your left hand, which is your shield hand, may still be shielded, of course. But that's the point about the right hand handshake, is all to do with that. And actually, as a barrister, when I qualified to the bar in England, as a barrister, you're not supposed to shake other barristers' arms because it's a degree of trust, right? Again, degree of trust, right? You don't need to shake the person's hand, although probably in the modern world we don't see shaking hands in quite the same way. All right. Couple of other ones. I was amused at this one. Don't shake your carpets out in the Metropolitan Police area. You can be arrested for that. Carrying a plank of wood on the pavement is an offence. That's under Metropolitan Police Act 1839. And here's the one that really, really interests me. Being drunk on licensed premises is breaking the law. So according to the Licensing Act 1872, it states there's a penalty for every person who is drunk in a licensed premises. Well, what do you do when you go to a licensed premises? You do it for imbibbing alcohol, right?
Yeah.
And what's the net effect of alcohol? Is getting drunk.
Yeah.
Sorry?
That's what licensed premises are for people to get drunk.
Yeah. You know, okay. Here's another one that I think is an interesting one. You're not allowed to eat mince pies on Sunday.
Oh, that's
sorry, on Christmas Day. On Christmas Day, not Sunday. All right. And by the way, also facing British money.
Yeah, your voice sounds a bit underwater.
Okay. So I said defacing British money is treasonous.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And by the way, did you know this? Handling salmon in a suspicious circumstances is against the law.
How do you handle salmon in suspicious circumstances? I wonder what suspicious circumstances might mean.
Well, I don't know. You'd have to look at the Salmon Act of 1986.
Oh my God. So they have a list of ways to do this.
Right. And okay, here's another one, which is like, so killing a swan is an act of treason. And do you know why? Because swans, all unowned swans, are actually owned by the Queen.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. or the king nowadays, of course.
So they got names and everything too.
Sorry?
They got names and everything too.
Yeah. And here's one that I think has to be the right, and this is an up-to-date one. A bad reference given by your former employer can be libelous. Absolute right on. Absolutely right.
Absolutely.
They can give you they can give you a bland, yes, he worked here, but you can't state he was a bad worker.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true here to a certain extent, although there's qualified privilege in certain circumstances where you can make a statement. But you have to be very careful in employing that.
Okay, I've got another one for you. You'll love this one, right? You're not allowed to flag down a taxi cab in London if you have the plague.
That must have come out from the Black Plague.
Yeah, well, you see, you wonder about that one. You kind of going, really? You got me there. But actually, there's a logic to it.
Yeah. Unless it was enforced during COVID times. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's interesting because it's
Hi, Robert.
pre-COVID law. Although it's fairly modern. It's in the 80s. Here's another one, that you're not allowed to import Polish potatoes into England.
Polish potatoes?
Polish, yeah, Polish.
But other potatoes you could.
Yeah. Like, there's probably an EU reason for that one. Or maybe it's a Brexit thing.
Yeah.
Okay, here's one. You have to do a bit of swimming for this one, right? Entering the hull of the Titanic requires state permission.
Oh my. That's a heck of a way down, though.
Yeah, it's 12 miles deep.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody's going to be just doing that in order to break that law.
Yeah, that's a tough law to break, isn't it? Yeah, that's a real tough law to break. Okay, so I got another one. So we're going to move on to some some Canadian ones down next. And I think you'll love this one. It's illegal to pretend to practice witchcraft in Canada. So, hey, Angela, are you a witch?
No.
Okay, so if you're not a witch, will you do a stage production for me and pretend you're a witch?
Yeah, pretending is against the law, but being a witch and practicing witchcraft is not.
Yeah, that's a kind of funny one, isn't it? That really has to be a funny one. And this one I get, the next one I get, it's illegal to challenge or accept a challenge for a duel in Canada. Right? There's a logic to that because, hey, how are you going to stop dueling? Back in the day, that has to be the way. It's a big no-no under Section 71 of the Criminal Code.
Got one here about a Toronto bylaw states that while you're in a park, no person shall indulge in riotous, boisterous, violent, threatening, or illegal conduct or use profane or abusive language in a park.
Well, that keeps a lot of people out of parks, doesn't it?
Yeah, that would get about 95% of the population out of parks.
Yeah, I've got another one here.
Profanity.
I've got another one here in Canada. You'll love this one. It's illegal to publish or sell comic books in Canada.
Oh, God.
Correct.
Well, there's some people who have been doing it. Did you know about the Ontario Innkeepers Act? An innkeeper, livery stable keeper, or boarding stable keeper who has a lien on a horse, other animal, or carriage for the value or price of any food or accommodation supplied, or for care or labor bestowed upon, as additional to all other remedies provided by law, in case remains unpaid for 2 weeks, they can sell the horse or animal or carriage, on giving 2 weeks notice of the intended sale. So they can sell your horse if you don't pay your hotel bill.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Many of us,
Okay. So,
like all of us, have horses.
okay. So if you don't pay your hotel bill, they can sell your horse. But hey, I've never had a horse.
Yeah,
I know a
exactly.
couple of people. I know a couple of people who've got horses,
Yeah.
but I've never heard of them arriving at the hotel with a horse.
Yeah. Like, do they park it outside of a hotel?
Yeah, or is there? Okay, so here's another question then that relies to that one. If they don't, what's the modern substitute for a horse? The
Well,
car?
usually they have a vehicle or a car or
Yeah.
a truck.
So if you don't pay your hotel bill, they can sell your car.
Yeah, but it doesn't say that in the act.
Yeah. Okay, so Robert's got one here. According to a law made in 1924, it's illegal for donkeys to sleep in bathtubs in Arizona.
So what are they going to ticket the donkey?
The donkey don't sleep there.
Yeah. I say, are they going to ticket the donkey?
Yeah. The donkey. We'll get to some American laws in a little while. Okay, so here's another one. Here's another Canadian one. It's illegal to scare the king.
Yeah, but so you can't go behind the king when he's in town and go, boo.
Yep, that's out of order. Sorry, but we got to protect King Charles here, and it's just important that we do. Okay, I got another one for you. It's illegal to make purchases using too many coins, right? You can use up to 25 pennies, 100 nickels, 100 dimes, 40 quarters, 25 loonies, and 20 toonies. Right?
Yeah.
So toonies in there. If it's got toonies,
that's interesting because that's all legal tender. I had one client of mine who got to a dispute. She owed somebody about $120 or something. So she paid it all in pennies, nickels, and dimes.
Yep.
Okay, and just got a big, huge bag and put all the pennies, nickels, and dimes in there.
Okay.
So I don't even know if it was even. It's against the law to climb a tree in Oshawa.
Climb a tree in Oshawa. Oshawa. Okay. Eastern Toronto. Yeah. Okay. 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 It's illegal to ridicule the Christian religion in Canada.
Whoa. Whoa.
Got another one?
Yes, in Alberta, it's illegal to own a pet rat.
Okay.
And I don't know what they're going to do. Are they going to go door to door checking for people who have pet rats?
Well, there's some other ones that I think they're going to have to go door to door to figure out anyway.
Yeah. Like, who's going to do this?
Yeah, and especially the hours at which you have to do them. Okay, so here's one. It's illegal to water ski at night in Canada. Yeah.
So somebody's going to have to go to all the beaches and everything and check to see if anybody's water skiing.
Yep. Okay, so
wacky doodle made that law.
Have you got any more Canadian ones on your part?
Just gonna see. Okay.
Yeah, okay, you've got that one.
It's illegal in Edmonton, Alberta. It's illegal for you to let your cow meow or howl outdoors.
Your what?
To let your cat howl or meow outdoors.
Yeah, how are you going to stop that?
I don't know. Like, I guess they're going to ticket the cat. And the other one in Bathurst, New Brunswick, you're not allowed to trick or treat if you're over 16 years old.
You know what? I get that. I do get that because, I get that parents accompany their children and maybe even, late teenagers and early 20s might well accompany their younger brothers and sisters for protection. But big kids take too much.
Yeah, I've had guys in their 30s try to trick or treat one time.
Yeah, I think that's out of order. I really do.
Yeah,
It doesn't
like
matter.
why don't they just throw Halloween parties on the block and anybody can go, and then wear a costume, come as you are with a costume, and have some fun.
Yeah, I get that some people have, have migrated to Canada or America, never had trick or treat in their lives, so it's a new thing. I get it.
Yeah.
Why they want to do it. Any others?
Yes, in Alberta, it's against the law to paint a wooden ladder.
Paint a what?
A wooden ladder.
A ladder. Okay.
Yeah. The law was put into action to ensure you can tell the condition of such a ladder, since a wooden ladder may be preserved with a transparent protective coating.
Oh, so I can put a transparent protective coating on there, but I can't paint it white or black or
Right. Exactly. And that's 2009 occupational health and safety.
Well, actually,
in Sudbury, you can't put a siren on your bike.
What? Where?
He said, like in Sudbury, the bylaw states the operation of any siren or artificial noise device other than a bell or a horn attached to a bicycle shall be deemed an unusual noise.
What, you mean I can't have a horn that goes meh, 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 meh?
No, you can't do that. It brings unusual attention to yourself.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't want to do that anyway.
You would think that all of that gets... and up in Northwest Territories, it's against the law to use a dog sled on a sidewalk.
Dog sled on a sidewalk?
In Northwest Territories.
When you're covered in snow, how would you know what's a sidewalk and what's not?
Exactly.
Right. And hey, they get way
and
more,
I got another one
up there than we do.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, where is the sidewalk? Yeah, you can't see it. And then it says in Halifax, if you're a taxi driver, you're not allowed to wear a T-shirt.
Actually, that's a fairly sensible law. And that's actually somewhat similar to the one I found in Spain. In Spain, you're not allowed to walk around the streets of the city in a swimsuit or topless.
Yeah. Right? Does that apply to guys too, or does it just apply to women?
It applies to both. There's separate laws for men and for women. Right.
Yeah, because around here, so I mean, so they show everybody in swimsuits walking down the street here. So I guess that's not allowed, unless that's in California or something.
Yeah, they're basically saying don't be shirtless in the city center. You can get an $800 fine for being shirtless.
Whoa!
Right.
Whoa!
And I approve of that one. I'm not a fan of shirtless. Okay, when I was a kid, I probably did as much as anybody else. I think, for an adult, there's a degree of decorum.
I got to speak clearer because it's going through the bubbly underwater sound.
Oh, okay. I don't know. There's a decorum that you need to, there's a standard of decorum that I think you need to keep, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Moving. Anything else in that bundle?
Not in that bundle, but I found a couple of other weird ones.
I got a couple here. I got some here. Okay, so this is world's ridiculous laws from around the world, and let's start with this one. Interracial marriage is still illegal in Alabama. Right. Since 1986. U.S. authorities have had the right of access to any 180-day old email without a warrant. Right.
And an interesting thing here is in North Carolina, it says couples must have sex in the missionary position and with the curtains pulled. Who checks?
There was actually one also that said that women are not allowed on top not allowed to have sex on top. Oh, In Dubai, extramarital sex is against the law and could result in jail sentences of over a year, which means that rape cases, both the victim and the perpetrator could end up being charged with the same crime.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Right? In Saudi Arabia, there's no minimum age for marriage.
Mm.
Right? And in 2008, a Saudi court refused an 8-year-old girl who asked for a divorce from a 58-year-old husband. Right?
In Hong Kong, there's a law that allows a wife to kill her husband if she finds him cheating. However, she must kill him with her bare hands.
Okay. In 29 states in the US, it's legal to fire somebody for being gay. I think that's a horrible one.
That is.
Yeah. Okay. In Greece, police are allowed to arrest anyone suspected of HIV. Suspected of.
Yeah. Like they're just supposed to perceive that somehow, or like they're supposed to have some kind of ESP or something.
Yeah. In the Philippines, you can be charged with the crime of unjust vexation for doing just that, vexing somebody. And yes, it's as vague and arbitrary as it sounds.
Yeah, and awful. In Russia, another one that's awful is Vladimir Putin in Russia just made it recently illegal to tell kids that gay people exist.
Yeah, I heard that one.
That's horrible.
So in Thailand, it's illegal to step on money. So if you drop a coin out of your pocket, you can't step on it to stop it rolling away, eh? Okay, so in Singapore, selling non-medical chewing gum or chewing normal gum gives you a fine of $1,000. A second offense could be a fine of $2,000.
Oh yes, that's where I'm looking at the Singapore. Oh God.
Right. I love this one, right? Kids, listen up to this one. In 2013, China passed a law that states it's illegal for adult children not to visit their parents often in China, right?
Oh, often. What does that mean?
Well, yeah, I don't know. They haven't disclosed what often means. But hey, adult, if you're Chinese descent and you don't go visit your children, your people, your parents in China, you could be in serious trouble.
There's a lot of stuff against gays.
Well, I don't know if that's against gays, but anyway, so there's a law in South Carolina that says you're not allowed to have a mock proposal. Right, so states anybody above 16 is not allowed to perform a proposal for marriage unless they mean it. How would you know whether somebody means it?
Yeah, again, you're supposed to read their mind.
Yeah, and again, here's an interesting one. In Montana, you can have proxy weddings where you're allowed to if you've got people serving in the military, a friend can pretend to be the groom or the bride, and the union will still be considered valid. So does that mean then the friend takes the wife off to bed at night? I'll leave it there, I think.
Another one here says it's illegal in Massachusetts for a man and a woman who rent a room for the night to sleep in the nude. Again,
I've got another one in that regard. In Massachusetts, it's deemed illegal for a woman to be on top during sex.
Oh God! Again, who checks?
Yeah, 1 o'clock in the morning, bang, 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 bang. Who's there? It's a bylaw officer.
So they have the sex police or something.
Yeah. Can you imagine the Massachusetts Gazette headline that says "Sex Police Raid"?
Yeah, some of these laws are ridiculous.
Install cameras in suspects' bedroom because they believe woman is sleeping on top. Yeah. Okay, here's one. In Arkansas, it still exists, that states a husband is allowed to beat his wife, but only once a month.
Oh, gosh.
That's pretty bad, eh?
That is bad. That is
Yeah.
bad.
Okay, so in Rhode Island, a union can be considered invalid on the grounds that the party is deemed to be collectively an idiot or lunatic.
Oh, God.
Right. Okay. In Virginia, it's illegal for a man to kick a woman out of bed. Again. Who the hell is going?
Yeah, who the hell is checking this?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is weird.
Bang, 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 bang. Bylaw officer again.
Yeah, like boy, oh boy.
Or
Some
actually,
of them really get down to your knickers.
yeah. Like, honestly, so in divorce proceedings, they're so, Your Honor, he kicked me out of my bed.
And says that in France, it is stated as illegal to marry a dead person.
Yeah, I kind of, what?
Like, are people marrying dead people or something? Is there a trend?
Yeah. Is there a new necromancer type of thing going on here?
Well, you're a wedding officiant.
Yeah, well, nobody's ever asked me to do that. So in Utah, you can marry your cousin, but only if you are both over the age of 65. But you know what? When you turn 65, you're known to have impeccable judgment.
God. Oh, God.
Right. Okay. So here, this is very serious. I've got a big problem here. This is very, very serious. Everybody pay attention. So if you're in Britain and you've got pets, you're not allowed to let your pet mate with any pet from the royal family.
Oh, boy. The royal pets. They're special. They're special.
Yeah.
Did you know in Oregon, talking dirty while having sex is illegal? Even though they don't really specify what qualifies as dirty talk?
Yeah. Okay. In Kentucky, a woman cannot remarry the same man more than 3 times.
Oh, my.
Now, I'm thinking to myself, when I first read this, I'm thinking to myself, hey, you'd be a fool to marry them the 3rd time, wouldn't you?
I think in some cases it's fool to marry them the first time.
Yeah, but then I'm also thinking to myself, the name that rings a bell, Elizabeth Taylor.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, here's an interesting one. In certain parts of India, a man who's in debt can offer up his wife until the debt has been paid off. Now, what it doesn't do here is he offering up her for money to pay the debt off, or what?
For something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's never any specific purpose.
Is this legally endorsed prostitution?
Yeah, that's right? What it sounds like.
Yeah. And in Pennsylvania, it's illegal to tie a dollar bill to a string on the ground and pull it away when somebody tries to pick it up. Yes.
Like, we must have a really flurry of people doing things like this.
I always wanted to do that, right? That has to be a candid camera moment, surely. Yeah. Just make sure I don't do it in Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah. Must have a flurry of people doing these things.
Okay. So if you're old, or if you're infirmed or something, pay attention to this one, because it's illegal to die in the Houses of Parliament.
So if you die there, I said, what's the penalty?
Yeah, well, I don't know. That's interesting.
So you're going to find a dead body?
Okay. And I got another one here from the UK. You can't catch a whale or great sturgeon in the UK because they are property of the Queen or King nowadays.
Oh, God.
And I love this one. I love this next one, right? And this has got to be the best one of the night so far. In Samoa, it's illegal to forget your wife's birthday.
That has had to have been written by a woman.
Probably.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. And
Okay,
a group of women who got in there and they lobbied.
Sorry, what are you saying?
Somebody's lobbying to get these laws in the books.
Yeah. In Missouri, it's illegal to drive with an uncaged bear.
Oh, my God.
And in Sweden, it's illegal to be found buying the services of a prostitute, even though prostitution is legal.
Oh, yeah, it's similar in Canada, too. That was passed when it's illegal to buy sex.
Yeah.
And this was where I did a presentation one time. All that does is put it underground.
Yeah, well, that just basically, it doesn't help any situation, does it? You know, to have that dichotomy. If prostitution is legal, then
everything around it should be legal.
Yeah, everything about it should be legal. Yeah,
like the person who's in the business of being a prostitute should be permitted to hire somebody to assist her. Hey, support person, or if somebody comes in with a bad date or something, to get rid of that person. And whatever, they should be allowed to do all the stuff. And if somebody wants to go in and pay for somebody, that's fine. I mean, if prostitution is legal, like, just make it illegal. If they don't want it legal, if they don't want people doing it, just make it illegal. But but of course, they keep saying, in Canada, they had the Supreme Court of Canada decision where the Bedford case, they brought with this type of thing, they legalized it. But then the government turned around and changed it. So, okay, prostitution is legal, but you can't buy a prostitute's services. Doesn't make any sense to me.
Okay, going back to that one. With a couple in the room, once the sex police lay a charge, no pun intended, do the police frisk both parties?
Oh, God, Patrick, you're getting bad.
I love it. This next one has to make me wonder who was the Victoria Parliament filled with a certain profession here. In Victoria, Australia, it's illegal to change a light bulb unless you're a licensed electrician.
Oh, God. What kind of light bulbs did they have back then?
I'm thinking to myself, they must have had a lot of licensed electricians in Parliament that day when they passed this law. Right?
Yep.
And actually, this next one is wrong. Number 53 is wrong because we already covered it. In the UK, the law still exists from the Middle Ages that requires all males over the age of 14 to be trained in shooting a longbow. Yep, it does not. It was done in 1845. Right? And here's one that should be a worldwide law. I agree with this one 100%. And it should apply not just to children, but anybody taking exams. Bangladeshi children over 15 can be sent to jail for cheating on their final exams.
Yeah.
Right.
They need to go to jail, directly to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Just go directly to jail.
Okay. In Australia, it's permissible for men to cross-dress, just so long as they don't use strapless dresses.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
And here's another one that requires night police, right? It's illegal in Switzerland to flush the toilet after 10 p.m.
Oh, God. Oh,
Now,
God, somebody's going to have to, as I said, who checks?
I've been on holiday in Switzerland, and I stayed in a hotel in Switzerland. Probably flushed the toilet after 10 p.m.
Yeah,
Don't remember being told not to.
yeah.
What's the reason, the logic?
That's what I always like to think when I read these laws and learn about them. What was the reason for some of these laws? Like
Oh,
usually laws have a logical reason, usually
yeah,
public safety or something like that. Okay? But there's nothing there that would indicate public safety. Flushing toilet after 10 p.m. versus flushing toilet before 10 p.m.
yeah. Okay, here's another one. We talked about this somewhat along this before. So in Canada, any comic book that portrays illegal activity is banned. We talked
I
about
remember they were talking about that.
yeah,
Comics.
comic book production of comic books in Canada is also banned.
Yeah, you just can't publish them.
Yeah,
Never alone illegal ones, illegal
yeah.
acts. Yeah.
Okay, here's another one. Argentina. There's a law that states that Argentinian nightclubs must pay the same amount of tango music as any other forms of music combined. Right? So, married New Yorkers cannot get divorced on the grounds of irreconcilable differences unless both marriage partners agree on those grounds.
Yeah, so they all agree on that there's irreconcilable differences.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. Not. Okay. In China, there's a law that a person must be intelligent to go to college. How do you define intelligent?
That's a $64,000 question they tried to fill out.
Okay, another one. And I get the logic behind this one, right? In France, it's illegal to name a pig Napoleon.
Oh, God.
And apparently it's because it's a slight to the great French general and emperor. But hey, when he served out his days in a British prison camp in St. Helena, were there lots of pigs around?
That's like you wonder whether there was anything about using the name Adolf Hitler, like after Hitler.
Well, actually, the funny thing is, in the second half of the 20th century, talking about that, the name Adolf effectively nosedived from about 1930 onwards. The name Adolf just nosedived off the edge of.
Yeah.
Nobody
You want to name your kid after a horrible dictator.
Not going to name your kid Adolf, are you? Not for anything.
Nope.
And hey, you got a couple of examples: Adolf Hitler, Adolf Eichmann.
Yeah.
Need I go on? Okay. Yeah. We're talking about treason again. In Britain, it's an act of treason to place a postage stamp bearing the monarch's head upside down on an envelope.
I've done that before.
Considering all postage stamps in the UK must have the monarch's head on them, I'm not going to comment any further.
I've done that before accidentally, where I put the monarch's head up, the stamp upside down.
Yeah.
So is somebody out to get me now?
So in Colorado, it's illegal to collect rainwater. Apparently, farmers and landowners are being punished for this.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Right. Okay. Any other ones we've got here? Okay. So I did some Spain because I did some looking up for Spain because there's a law that I believe to be on the books. When was America discovered? 1492.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the same year as the Isabella and her husband conquered the last bastion of Islam in Spain, and they basically unified Spain. They conquered Granada and kicked out. And so at the same time, they created a law that made it illegal not to be a Christian in Spain. So 1492, it was illegal to be a Jew, an Arab, or any other religion in Spain. Christian and Catholicism was the only accepted religion. I did research about 15 years ago when I first found this out, and something told me that it was still on the books. I haven't been able to find it this time around.
It's almost going around in circle. Like if you look at what's going on in the U.S. and what's being suggested.
Yeah.
Right? It's. Well, I think we have to be very, very careful about stuff like that.
Yeah.
Especially if you want to honor people's consciousness and their religion, their thoughts, politics, whatever.
Yeah, but the last time anybody got arrested for this was kind of, 150 years ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they probably don't enforce it, but
yeah.
But even having that type of thing, all you need is the right person to get in power.
Well, and there was another one where minarets are not permitted in Switzerland.
God.
Okay, so okay, so I covered this. In Spain, it was illegal to walk around the streets in a swimsuit, and a few others, and basically is subject to you're subject to like up to an $800 fine on that one, €800 fine. Sorry, I misread. So there's a couple of other ones here. You're not allowed to walk a large number of dogs at the same time. So dog walkers are out in Spain. Sorry, not allowed.
Oh, really? Walking a large number of dogs?
Yep.
And what do they consider a large number of dogs?
If you have 8 or more dogs, you can be fined.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I see that sometimes on TV or watch movies. Someone works as a dog walker and they're walking a whole bunch of dogs at the same time.
It's a bylaw in the city of Seville that you're not permitted to hang up underwear outside on the clothesline.
Another one there. I guess they go around checking your clothesline.
Well, here's one that's really, really sensible, right? You're not allowed to wear sandals or flip-flops while driving. This should be banned worldwide. Karim, pay attention. This should be banned worldwide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is another one here. In Singapore, if a person litters 3 times, they must clean the streets wearing a bib that reads, "I'm a litterer."
Yeah. And another one in Cadiz, you're not allowed to throw rice at weddings.
Oh, God. I thought a lot of people do that.
Yeah. And if you're in Madrid, don't ask for time. Because it's not legal at certain times in the day.
Oh, sounds like people are pretty strange in Spain.
Okay, what other ones have you got?
Okay. The only 2 states where divorce is illegal are the Philippines and the Vatican.
The second I get, because there's probably no married people living in the Vatican.
Yep. Yep.
The first, okay.
Philippines, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what does a Filipino do if they want to get divorced? They leave, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And in Arizona, having more than 2 vibrators in your home is illegal. If you own more than 2 in your house, you could be subject to criminal possession.
So when are they sending the sex cops around?
Yeah. Like this is where they got to go knocking on your door and go through your house to see if they can find these things and how many. I don't know.
One here for you. Halifax, Nova Scotia, taxi drivers are not allowed to wear T-shirts. Actually, that's a very sensible. I think a taxi driver should be professionally attired.
Yeah, there should be something at least identifying them as a taxi driver. In Iowa, it is illegal for a man with a mustache to kiss a woman in public. Did you know that, Peter?
In Iowa.
In Iowa.
I'd better go there immediately and find a woman and kiss her in public.
Yeah. Just see it. Test the law there.
Yeah, except I think I'd know a woman who might be offended by that.
Who would be?
Well, yeah, anyway, we'll not go there.
Okay. Yeah. There's people who are offended by mustaches. In Vermont, a woman needs the husband permission to wear false teeth.
How do you know there hasn't been the husband's permission?
Yeah.
Does it have to be in writing, and did she have to carry it in her purse?
So she has to carry a note in her purse to show that she can wear that in her husband's signature. And does anybody ask for that? Like, and what would be the purpose?
Yeah.
Okay? It's strange. This is weird, eh? Some of these things.
Oh yeah, absolutely weird, absolutely insane. But that's kind of the thing about this. And hey, I've been saying ever since I went to law school back in '95. Actually, I didn't say it when I was when I started my LLB. I did say it towards the end of my LLB. I believe that all, we have common law because it's a law that dates back to a long time. But if we have, and the common law develops all the time. But if we have statutes, criminal statutes, basically you need to take the whole criminal code.
Now you're underwater again, Peter.
Okay, you need to take the whole criminal code and have it redone every 50 years. From start to finish, it has to be gone through chapter by chapter by chapter by chapter and redone every 50 years. That way, if a new crime is invented, you can add it to the criminal code. If old crimes are stupid and could not be possibly done anymore, let's say that
no more diving to get onto that Titanic.
Yeah, exactly. So those old laws should be gone, right? The ones that are out of date should be basically done. But when it comes to civil codes, again, with the civil codes, we should do them about once every 100 years. Common law is fine because common law is always automatically refreshed.
Yeah.
But for example, if we're dealing with, let's say, take the Innkeepers Act, it's the issue. This is actually as RSO 1990, but let's say that it followed the rules of the Innkeepers Act 1762. Well, no, it should be completely refreshed. That article that was about the horses on the Innkeepers Act. Well,
and it is in there. It is in there.
I accept. But the section about horses, surely there should now be a new version of that. You can put a lien on your car.
Yeah.
Or your house.
People would go in and let them know the car's VIN number and all that. When you go sign up into a hotel and then you pay your bill, then they just delete it from their system. But if you don't pay your bill, they have it.
Yeah. The other thing, of course, about something like that is that probably what will happen is if you don't pay, and is it a moot point today? Because mostly you go and you pay by cash, or you're going to pay by cash, or you're going to pay by credit card.
Yep, and then they just take your credit card and bill it.
Yeah, Yeah. Now the challenge with that is that, hey, you give them the credit card. Let's say typically what happens is you give them the credit card, they run it for $100, or there's $100 hold on it, right? So let's say that you actually your hotel bill becomes like $5,000, but you don't have $5,000 credit limit. You leave, and you're driving off into the sunset.
Yeah.
There must be a way for them to collect on that. And
Yeah, I'm sure they do, because don't they get your address and everything on file when they go in there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And they could cooperate with the credit card company to sue you for that.
Yeah, that happens. Right?
It's
Yes,
a
because
debt at that point. It's a debt at that point. Okay. It's true that potentially you could have a person who does that. He just runs up a $5,000 bill, and he's on the next plane to God knows where, and he's never coming back. It happens. It's rare.
Yeah.
Right. But it's been fun talking about these odd bills, and we have to have a bit of fun on here.
Oh yeah, some of them are pretty funny, and you always wonder what people were thinking when they put these into law.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
And how they thought they were going to enforce these laws.
Yeah.
And who would enforce them?
Especially the ones about sex in bed, how you must have sex in bed, and again, let's say that, for example, a married man, or a man going into the home of a woman, is he having sex there, or is he the plumber?
Yeah, exactly. So, like, how are people going to know?
Yeah, how would you know?
Yeah.
Or is he the mortgage agent?
Yeah, exactly.
You'd not know that.
There's all kinds of reasons a man would go into a home of a woman.
Yeah, and okay, it's only in places like the Middle East that they suddenly become kind of contorted about why a man's in the home of a woman.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I mean, here, we happen to have people who come in and fix your house or get you financing, or maybe sell you something to install a furnace or air conditioning.
Exactly, because the guy who's coming into, you've called them, they're coming in to sell you a furnace or an air conditioning system or something like that. It's going to take them a while, because they have to look at what you've got, what the vents are, how the system is going to work.
A whole bunch of things.
And they're likely to inspect a lot of the house, not necessarily every single room, but for example, if they're going to radiators, they might say, okay, have you got radiators in every room in the house? And you might say, yes, except for the front bedroom. And go, okay, let me have a look there, right? They don't need to go to every bedroom, because you've already told them you've got radiators in every room. There's no assumption that man is doing anything but, sorting you out an HVAC system.
Can you imagine, Peter, if that they would actually be enforcing these laws?
Yeah, some of those were ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. And especially about paying in pennies. I did have a client who told me she owed somebody $120 or something. She paid in pennies, nickels, and dimes, all of it, right? And gave him a big bag full of coins. He says, "Here's your money."
Yeah, because in fact, the trouble is, $120 is kind of not a great deal of money, right? Yeah. And the person, especially if you're paying a company, the person in the company is probably spending more than $120 worth of time counting that lot and bagging.
Yep, exactly. I forget who it was that she owed it to, but I guess she was just so angry at this person, right, that instead of just coming by and writing him a check or e-transfer or whatever it is, she just put everything in a bag and gave it to him. He says, "Here you go." And she actually counted it, right? So somebody, I guess, at his end will have to count it.
and also some of these, like the sex on top, the woman on top in sex, like, well,
Oh, God.
who cares?
Open the door and look through the windows. How are they going to do that?
Hey, I don't care what you do with your husband. Get on with it.
Yeah.
Et cetera, et cetera. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't care what you do. It's like,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you don't care what I do. It's
Exactly.
that's the way it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. And okay, so what we've been talking about today is just a lot of fun about legal things. But if you need to contact Invictus Legal LLP, you can do so on 905-688-5598. And you can email Angela at weareinvictus.legal, or me at peter@weareinvictus.legal, or visit our website at https weareinvictus.legal. And this is the bit that I know we'll do this. We've got this show is certainly interesting. Thank you, says Robert.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, just to give everybody a laugh.
And we'll come back to our final piece here, which Angela loves to do.
Okay. So what you heard today on Spin Legal is not legal advice. If you need legal advice, please contact a lawyer or paralegal. And also, all the laws that we talked about today, please don't ask us or anybody else to enforce them.
Yeah, because in fact the probability of enforcing them is pretty well zero, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like Slim and None and Slim left town.
Yeah. All right. Well, I thank everybody for being here, and have a great week, and we'll be back with you this time next week.
Okay.